Hope everyone is comfortable in using Colab. If not, please let me know. Are you familiar with using Colab? Okay, towards the end, what I'll do is I'll just show you how you can access Colab. Now I am in Colab environment. As I already mentioned, this is a Jupyter notebook on Google. Colab is as simple as that. It's a Jupyter notebook on Colab or Google. Whatever you can do on Jupyter notebook, you can do it on Colab. Okay, I'll to start with, I'll introduce some basics or some pre-processing activities with respect to NLP, because we need those things to create the applications. One important point that you have to do on Colab is like Python environment is there, but libraries are not there. Some default libraries will be there, but whatever libraries you want, explicit libraries you want, that you have to install and then import. That is the only thing that Colab demands. For example, here I am starting with NLP basics. I need the NLTK library. So for NLTK library, so what I do is I have given pip install NLTK. I'll just click on this. You can see that NLTK library is getting installed. Right, its requirement already satisfied because just before I started, I had cross-checked it once. So after installing, now you have to import. So installing says the library is loaded, but you have to import the NLTK. So I imported NLTK. Let us start with some of the pre-processing things. See, whenever we are having text, the text may have some HTML tags, some XML tags. So you would like to remove all those tags. Here you can see HTML doc. The HTML tags are there. So how do we remove these HTML tags? Because we are not interested in all these HTML tags. We are interested only the content here. So I'm importing Beautiful Soap from BS4. So this this helps to remove this HTML tags. I'll just run on this. Here you can see down, right? I think both you can see. So inside this, you can see the HTML doc, the Dormouse story, right? The class title is given here. And as you can see, the text here says that the Dormouse story, once upon a time there was 3 little sisters and their names are given, and they lived at the bottom of a well. And story, after story we have 3 dots. So here we have only the contents. All the HTML tags are removed. So in many of the text that we get, they'll have HTML tags or XML tags. To remove the HTML tags, now this particular thing helps. That is the Beautiful Soap. Beautiful Soap function, which accepts a HTML document and HTML parser. So you have to just pass on this to this. So you'll get the text. Right? Okay, this is one thing. Then the other one, important one, in fact, we have to say is tokenization. So how do we tokenize? And tokenization, it depends on the application, whether you have to tokenize at sentence level or at word level or even at subword level. So let us start with sentence tokenization. That means tokenizing at a sentence. There is a small text here. Dear FDP participants, hope you are enjoying the sessions. In this session, I would like to introduce text analytics using NLTK. Write your doubts in the chat box. I'll try to answer by the end of the session. This is the text. And when we say sentence will be terminated by full stop or a period. For sentence tokenization, this full stop will be considered. So here there are 3 sentences. The first sentence is, Dear FDP participants, hope you are enjoying the sessions. The second sentence is, in this session, I would like to introduce text analytics using NLTK. And the third one is, write your doubts in the chat box. Sorry, 4 sentences are there. This is one sentence. I'll try to answer by the end of the session. So how do we tokenize this? So to tokenize, we need this. We have to download this PUNKT, NLTK.download PUNKT. That is This is the one that is required for tokenization, and we are using sentence tokenization. So we are importing sentence tokenization. So as I mentioned earlier, only thing is we need to know which are the functions that are available in the libraries or the packages. If you know that, you need not have to write the code from the scratch. I mean, that is the advantage. I also like to say that that is also a disadvantage, because we won't be knowing what actually is happening inside. So if you want to know what is happening inside, and if you want to have full control over your code, then better you write the code on your own. So let us try this sentence tokenization. So tokenize send equal to send tokenize I am importing. To this send tokenize I am giving this as text. I'll just run this. Yes, here you can see, dear FTP participants. See, all the this thing are split. What I'll do is I'll put some lines so that you can easily make out. Yes, I think now you can make out. So there are 4 lines, right? Or sorry, 4 lines here. So 4 sentences are. So what we have done is we have divided a paragraph or given a collection of text. Now we are tokenizing the sentences. We are considering each and every sentence. It depends on your requirement. So not all applications require sentence tokenization, but when we are using when you are creating a word to vec for your corpus, then we need to sentence tokenization, because whenever we want to find out the context of a word will be present in a sentence. In such case, if you do word tokenization, it does not help, especially for word to vec. But if you're going for TF-IDF or frequency weighting measure or frequency word vectors, then sentence tokenization is not required. You can go for word tokenize. So this is a sentence tokenization. Okay, next let us go for word tokenize. So for word tokenize, similar to sentence tokenize, we have the function word tokenize, and I'm using the same text, but I just have included some numbers. I mean, when I have included numbers at random, so that I would like to check this regular expression tokenizer. When you are considering a text, there will be some numbers. Numbers may not be present in all the documents, so numbers does not play a major role or a prominent role. So I would like to remove all those numbers. So I have made provision to remove even the numbers here. So we are using word tokenize. So tokenized word equal to word tokenize. This one we have. Into tokenized word will be printed. Then I'm importing a regular expression tokenizer. So regular expression tokenizer is to remove all this unwanted things, that is punctuation. This is another point that we have to consider. There will be a lot of punctuations in a text, and the punctuations again does not contribute to anything. Especially if you are considering only for classification, you need not have to consider punctuation. You can remove all the punctuation. And to remove all the punctuation, or in other words, we can say clean text. How to clean the text? We have a regular expression tokenizer, which is very handy. In one line, all the punctuations can be removed. So here we have the tokenized word. Just run this. Yes, word tokens you can see, dear 120 FDP participants, and here comma is there, right? 1, 2, 3, 4 is there. Then here you can see the this one, square brackets, opening and closing square brackets are there, dot is there, and everything what we have here is it will split it into words. Whatever we have, it will be split it into words. Word in the sense, not a word in English dictionary. A word in natural language processing is a sequence of characters. A sequence of characters separated by white space characters, like new line, tab, and space. So that is a word. So because of this, even comma is considered as a word. But we do not want to continue comma as a word. So we have applied this regular expression tokenizer. So regular expression tokenizer will consider this. To this, you are giving here tokenizer is equal to regular expression tokenizer. So tokenized word is tokenized text dot lower. Converting the entire text to lowercase is another pre-processing that we can do. I mean, that can be done within one function. So this is the why we have to convert it into lowercase. If you are having, let us say, BAT, B80 in caps and B80 in small letters, they are one and the same as far as classification is concerned. So there is no much difference. Because of that, we do the case conversion, and in most of the cases, we convert it into lowercase. That does not mean that you should not convert it into uppercase. This is only a convention, not a rule. So you can convert it into lowercase. So after removing the punctuation, so we are having this. So tokenized word, if you are using word tokenized, this is what we get. The first one, word tokens. If you apply a regular expression tokenizer, where we are removing all the punctuation symbols, or here regular expression tokenizer means that if you can see this regular expression, we are considering only the characters, lowercase a to z, uppercase a to z, and here plus says that the square brackets say they are the character class, and plus says that one or more occurrences. So zero or more occurrences, zero is not considered. So one or more occurrences is considered. So wherever we are having the characters, English characters, A to Z, lowercase a to Z, uppercase a to Z, so only those are considered. Computer science people, you must be familiar with lexical analysis, so I need not have to explain about regular expression. The first is this, you are applying this regular expression. This is like you are building the object, and to this you are applying the text. The text is this one. So here you can see tokenizer dot tokenize text dot lower. You are converting entire thing to the lowercase and then applying this regular expression tokenizer, and after removing the punctuations, this is what we have. You can see. So in the second line, there are no comma. I mean, whatever comma that is present here is just to different comma between the two words, but comma is now not part of tokens. So comma or full stop or dots are there. Then we have question mark. All those things are removed here. So only the English characters are, sorry, not English characters, but we are used to telling that they are English characters. Okay, so then let us consider the frequency distribution. So frequency distribution of the tokenized words. I'll just run this. Frequency, again, the frequency distribution is a function. So this is the frequency distribution. You can see this is the frequency distribution of words. Similarly, you can even have the frequency distribution of characters. So to have the frequency distribution of characters, you have to split it into characters. So that's all. Here you can see frequency distribution. This is a function, right? Frequency distribution of the tokenized word. So tokenized word is here. This is the tokenized word, the one which we obtained in the earlier case, and that we are plotting using matplotlib, right? Okay, so let us see the stop words. For English, there are stop word lists. Lot of stop word lists are there. Again, it depends on the application. These are the generic stop words. In addition to these generic stop words, you can have your own or application dependent stop words. So some of the words which appear quite frequently in an application can be considered as application specific stop words, and those stop words can be deleted. To remove all these stop words, so this is what we do. So you need not even have to download these stop words. If you get stop words dot words English, so that is assigned to this stop words. So you have all the stop words. So all these stop words will be removed. I mean, this is a stop word list. We have not yet removed the stop words. This is a stop word list. So this stop word list can be removed here. Yes, here I am using this stop word list. Here you can see. So tokenized words. These are the tokenized words, and these are the filtered words. And so what I am doing here is filtered words for W in tokenized word. If length of W is greater than 2, only those words are considered. As a result, in is not here. You can see in is not here, I is not here, 2 is not here, because I am considering words of length greater than 2. And these are the tokenized words. Participants is there, enjoying. You is a stop word, R is a stop word, the is a stop word, in anime is a word of length 2, I is a length, I is a word of length 1, 2 is yes. So you can see here. So these are the words without stop words, or now we can call these as the content words. Then you have lexical normalization. So lexical normalization uses two functions. One is stemming, the other one is lemmatization. So in stemming, we have porter stemmer, then snowball stemmer, so many other stemmers are there. I'm using porter stemmer. Porter stemmer is quite popular. So for this to this porter stemmer, we have to pass the words to this. Uh, I mean, what do you mean by a stemmer here? Stemmer is nothing but a rules, right? A list of rules. It says that if this is a suffix, you remove the suffix. There are in English there are prominent suffixes like, for example, ing, tion. Ing is like doing, doing. So it ends with ing. Computerization, tion is there. So there are several suffixes. So you remove all these suffixes. In fact, when you say stemmer, it is removing the suffixes, and in some case removing the prefixes also. So I have imported the porter stemmer. Anyway, sentence tokenize and word tokenize is already there. I'll just apply this. And here you can see participants. I told the difference between stemmer and lemmatization. Participants A and TS have been removed. A and TS is a suffix that has been removed. Enjoying, see, ing holds good. Enjoying becomes enjoy, but participants becomes particip. Particip is not a standard word, or particip is not a word which has got a meaning. Whereas enjoying, when ing is removed, it becomes enjoy. Yes, it is correct. Introduce, see, introduce E is removed. Introduce is not a correct word. And similarly, analytics, ICS is removed. ANALYT, this is not a word in a dictionary, or this is not a meaningful word. But this porter stemmer mainly aims at removing the suffixes. Let us see lemmatization. So for lemmatization, what we need is WordNet. I don't know whether you are heard of WordNet. WordNet is like a lexicon. For English, we have a WordNet. Similar to this, we have for Indian languages also, we have WordNet for many of the Indian languages, and that is called as Indo-WordNet. Even using Indo-WordNet, you can build a lot of applications. But I think, except for Hindi, for the rest of the languages, I mean, WordNet is not as big as that of English. Okay, so I have imported this WordNet lemmatizer from nltk.stem.wordnet import WordNet lemmatizer, and I am giving this words to this WordNet lemmatizer. Yes, here you can see the tokenized words are dear FDP participants. See, participants now is reduced to participant, and participant is a meaningful word. But you can see that enjoying is not removed to enjoy. Enjoying is not reduced to enjoy. Right? Then sessions is reduced to session. Introduce, we have analytics. Doubts is reduced to doubt. Right? So this is what happens when you apply this lemmatization. So reduces the word, if possible, reduces the word. Not all words can be reduced. For example, dear cannot be reduced, FDP cannot be reduced, hope cannot be reduced, would cannot be reduced, like could not be reduced. So let us put a apply both normalize the stemming and lemmatization, and this is what we have. I'm considering the same tokenized words. See, these are the stemmed words. You can see the stemmed words, and you can also see the lemmatized words. So stem words and lemmatized words, you can see that they are different. Yes. For many applications, we need POS tagging, especially when it comes to named entity recognition. POS tagging is a must. So without POS tagging, you cannot do anything. So we have POS tagging. How you can tag the tag the words with a part of speech. So I'm downloading this average perceptron tagger, and you can see POS tagged words: dear, JJ, FDP, NN. NN is for noun, participants, NNS, verb phrase, you, preposition. So many tags are there. You can just play with this, what all tags are there. Yes. Next comes the count vectorizer. I had given the count vectorizer. I showed the example of count vectorizer. So it is the same count vectorizer here. What I have done is Okay, so I have a count vectorizer 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so hope you can make out the difference. So this is a small corpus I have considered. Right? In this small corpus, I just initiate the count vectorizer object. Count vectorizer 1 is given by count vectorizer. I have imported the count vectorizer. Then you have to fit the corpus to this count vectorizer. So vectorizer 1, because I have to vectorizer 2, vectorizer 3 I have put here. Dot fit transform corpus, and that is assigned to x1. And get feature names is it gives the vocabulary. So what I'll do is I'll remove this part and I'll run. So the advantage of notebook or even Colab is you can run only the required code. So not like Spider where you have to run the whole code. So whichever code you want, even small fragments that you can run. So let me run this. Yes, here you have the results. You can see the results. Yes, you can make out the results here. Right. This is get feature names. You can see what are the feature names. All the feature names are here. And this 8, this is the corresponding index. And I have given x1 to array. So if you do not give x1 to array, and what we will get, I can show you. So if you do not give x1 to array, that is the dense representation. So you'll get a sparse matrix representation like this. This is sparse matrix representation where we have the triple row, column, and value. So this is how we get. But if you want this in the form of an array, this is the array representation. This is the array representation that you can get. Okay, so here you can see I have just used count vectorizer. I have not done anything else. So what I do here is I have included some parameters like n-gram range. N-gram range is in 2 2, and analyzer is a word. Right? And in another one, vectorizer 3, this is count vectorizer, and I have given the n-gram range as 1 2 3. Okay, what we can do for this is I'll say stopwords equal to English. This count vectorizer is here. I can say stopwords equal to English. And if I say stopword equal to English, you can make out the difference now. Unexpected argument. Is it ENG? No. Okay, I'll separately include this stopwords. I'll run this. The first one I have included n-gram. N-gram is 2. Because n-gram equal to 2, you can see here, this is and this. And this document is first document is the second document, like this. And again we have a array here. And in the third one, in the second one for vectorizer 3, we have in the range 1 to 3. So 1, 2, 3 includes unigram, bigram, and trigram. We have and, you can see and this is document. Document is the first, like this. Just a minute. Yeah, I can even include stopwords here. Should be stopwords equal to English. Yes. The Yeah, I have included stopword equal to English for the vectorizer 3. So if you consider vectorizer 3, see, you can make out here that this, all those things are not there. We have only document, document second, document second, document second, then again document. Here you can see that this is unigram. Document is a unigram, document second is a bigram, document second, document this is a trigram. So you can include even that in this. If you just click on this, you can see whatever you can add. See, all these are, for example, lowercase equal to true, you can add here, preprocess equal to none, whatever preprocessing that you are using, that also you can include. The token pattern that you are using, that you can specify. Then maximum DF I mentioned in the beginning while considering this document frequency, TF-IDF. So what is the maximum document frequency that is required? What is the minimum document frequency? And if you are having any vocabulary, so all those can be given as input. Okay, so next is this is the tokenizer which I already have given. Yes, this is an example where I would like to, whatever parameters I mentioned. This is again a count vectorizer with all the parameters. I have given lowercase equal to true, stopwords equal to English, n-gram range is 1 1, and tokenizer is tokens dot tokenize. And tokens that I have considered the regular expression tokenizer here that you can make out. I'll run this. And this is what we have. And I have given it as a 2 array because it is a 2 array. I'm getting in this one. I mean, because it is a count vectorizer, right? I'm getting 1 0. If you make it as TF IDF, then you'll get in numbers, decimal numbers. Okay, this is for lemmatizer, which we already have done. Okay, this illustrates an example of a lemmatizer. See, lem dot lemmatize dogs. Dogs will be lemmatized to dog. Constitutes, if it is a verb, it lemmatizes to constitute. If it is just a constitutes, then it will be considered as a noun and that it will not be lemmatized. Okay, this is a tagger which I mentioned. Okay. What I'm doing now is to build any application, let us say to build a term document matrix or a TF-IDF. So I have to run this because I've included pre-processing text using the regular expression tokenizer. I have included lemmatization also. right? I have removed stop words, so everything will be done here. And now we have the corpus. These are the function definitions for pre-processing. And then we have the corpus. This is the corpus that I am considering. Some corpus at random I am considering. I would like to construct a TF-IDF for this. So how to construct TF-IDF for this? So what all is required, you can see here. For line in corpus, string line equal to join line, then text dot append. You're putting this whole thing as one. This is you're joining together, and after this you're applying count vectorizer. Count vectorizer n-gram equal to 1, that is you are considering unigram. Then x equal to vectorizer to fit the vector. Right here we have pre-processes here. This is the pre-process. And where is this pre-process? Pre-processes the function that we have defined here. Define pre-process text. So in this pre-processor text, we have the tokenizer. Everything is given in this one, in this function. Even stop word removing is also considered there. And once we have, we just run this. Yes, this is what we have. And the shape of the text is 8 cross 54. 8 cross 54 says that there are eight sentences or 8 documents. You can here what I have done is each line I have considered as a document. So 8 sentences are there. 8 sentences corresponds to 8 documents or 8 samples. And 54 says that there are 54 unique words. Right? There are 54 unique words. You can say, you can print this. See, this is how it looks. Instead of count vectorizer, let us see what happens if you are using same pre-processing, but here I am using TF-IDF vectorizer. If you use TF-IDF vectorizer, can you make out the decimal numbers here? And you can even see this one. See, here also it is 854. Right? The square brackets here, the beginning of a square bracket and a square bracket ends here. That means the dimension of this is 54. So we have 8 such features. Okay, this is the spell checker. TextBlob is another library for NLTK. This is for a spell checker. See here it says that Analytics Vidya is a GRET platform. This is not correct. Platform is not correct. Then LEARN, this is not correct. Science is not correct. So 1, 2, 3, 4 words are not correct. And Analytics Vidya is a great platform to, it says instead of learn, it says dear data science. And whichever you want that you can consider, and what is the similarity to those words that is given here. And this is to create a summary of the text using TextBlob. And here this a summary will be created like this. This text is about, what is the text is about, that is given as a summary. So these are some of the NLP basics that is required for in order to do this NLP. Right? And here I have okay. One thing that you have to note whenever you are using Colab is, let us say in some cases you have to read data files. In that case, how to read and where to mount these files. So the data files now will be stored here. Yeah, the data files, you can see that it will be stored in your drive, and you can access your drive. So here it's not mounted, so you have to mount your drive. So to mount your drive, you can click on this symbol. You can see this symbol. I'm just moving my mouse on this. You click this symbol. If you click this symbol, you'll get this from google.colab import drive, drive.mount. You just run this, it will mount. And you can see, you click on this, you'll get the code for that. To get the code, you have to I mean, I have opened so many Gmail accounts, so it's asking which Gmail account you would like to associate, and you'll get a key there. This key you have to copy and put it here. Enter. Your drive will be mounted. Once the drive is mounted, then you can see whatever you have here. See, these are my contents, or I can show you my drive. This is what we have considered. See, these are the contents of my drive. Hope you can make out what are the contents of my drive. So all these contents are accessible now. Especially when you want to load some data from the drive, now you have to mount it. Okay, so I have kept few files in this drive which I showed you here. These are the files, and I'm trying to read those files. To read those files, I have to give the path. That path is given here. And this is a simple example just to show how you can write the code on your own for TF-IDF. It shows how many files are there. Here you can see 5 files are there. And can you make out the TF-IDF? This is the TF-IDF or the term document matrix. As I mentioned you earlier, the term document matrix is a sparse matrix, and that is one of the drawback of TF-IDF representation, because most of the entries will be 0, and curse of dimensionality applies here, because even though they are 0, we have to process. And the other one is the length. Here you can see that there are 5 rows and 231 columns. 231 columns says that there are 231 words. That means the dimension of this is 231. Even though it is 231, most of the entries are 0 entries. Okay, so this is just an example to show how you can build this. How do you can write the code in Python to build TF-IDF? And whatever that I have written, this is not the unique way of writing the code to compute TF-IDF. You can write in your own way. Okay, so next what I'll do is I'll go for a sentiment analysis code which I have written. Okay, here also we have to mount. Okay, I already have mounted. I have put this in separate files, so I am running just to show you how you can do it. Again, install NLTK, pandas, all those things. I already have done it. Because of that, I am getting as downloading package stopwords. Then package stopwords is already up to date. Here you can see my data is here, right? SCA underscore train.tsv. So train.tsv is a file which has the required data. Train.csv is the file. This one. So this is a TSV file. TSV is a tab separated file. So this file I am reading. Here is the data of that file. Okay, so what I do with this is to perform sentiment analysis. I'll just show you the label distribution. See, there are 5 labels, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The 5 labels, this is the distribution of labels. And I'm using count vectorizer and the fit transform. So because we have the entire data set in one file, what I do is I'll split this into test and train set. And one model goes for the train set goes for building the model, and test set is goes for evaluating the model. So this is the size of the training data and the size of the test data. So how to build the models? See, NLTK or any text data, once it is converted into numeric data, then you can apply any of the machine learning algorithms. So the actual role of text mining or NLTK is only up to this much. So once it is done, we have the numeric data, then you can build any, you can use any machine learning algorithm. So here I am using sklearn library, and I am using Naive Bayes algorithm. Just to, I am not very keen on the accuracy. So this is how we are using the from sklearn.Naive Bayes import multinomial Naive Bayes. I'm using this multinomial Naive Bayes, and I'm using a matrix function also, matrix function to get the metrics or the accuracy. And here also it is simple, so nothing much to do about this. So import whatever is the functions from the library, you import that, and you just have to say here CLF multinomial NB, that is multinomial NB I'm using, dot fit X train Y train. So X train is this I have obtained while splitting. Here you can see. For this train test split, I have given X train, X test, Y train, Y test. This is the convention that we use, or normally these are the terminologies that are used. X train says that this is the training data, and Y train is the corresponding label. X test again is the training data, Y test is the corresponding label. So this is the accuracy that I get. So for multinomial NB, the accuracy is 60. The same thing, this is using count vectorizer. So I'm doing the same thing using TF-IDF vectorizer. Here you can see using the. So if you're using count TF-IDF vectorizer, then this is the 15,240 is the number of words that we get. Again, we split into train set and test set. So the number of features remains the same, and then we build the model. See, using count vectorizer, the accuracy was 60%. Here you can see. But if you're using TF-IDF, so using a count vectorizer, the accuracy is 60%. But when you're using TF-IDF, the accuracy is 58. As I said, I'm not really worried about the accuracy. This is just for demonstration purpose. And we can also show the classification report. So the classification report consists of precision, recall, F1 support, F1 score, and support. And here we can get the accuracy, macro average, and even the weighted average. So this is for one that is multinomial Naive Bayes. Similarly, now we can have a combination. Instead of running one by one, what I did is I'll consider an ensemble. And for an ensemble, what is required is ensemble is something like instead of one person doing a job, let a group do a job, and we will go for the collective decision or the collective opinion. So here I have considered only two. One is a multinomial, the other one is the k nearest neighbor with k value equal to 5. And the estimator that I'm using is hard voting. Similarly, you have a soft voting also, that also you can use. If I run this, this takes little time because now I'm running two classifiers simultaneously. Whatever is the train data, I am using that to build two models. And the test data is given to these two models simultaneously. And accuracy of the ensemble model now depends on the accuracy obtained by these two. In fact, you can have the individual accuracy, also accuracy of the individual classifiers. But whenever we say ensemble model, instead of the individual classifiers, we go for a collective kind of decision. And ensembling nowadays is quite common because it is like, as I said, it's like a group decision rather than an individual decision. And by ensemble model, the strong classifiers will overcome the weakness of a classifier, or strength of one classifier be used to overcome the weakness of the other classifier. I think it is taking time. Okay, it's keyboard interrupt. Okay, let me check once again if it gets fine. Otherwise, we'll move on to the next one. And I can show you the result even later on. Okay. This is about TF-IDF. Yes, then let us go for word vectors. Because one, I think Rajini Sri, she mentioned about using fast text, but this is not about a fast text. Here we have a GenSim model. We are using a GenSim model and we are trying to build a classifier for this. So as I mentioned, whatever we need, we have to install first. I have already mounted this. See, this using word vectors, it requires XGBoost. XGBoost is for the classifier. TextBlog, for some purpose, we are using TextBlog, and we need GenSim because we need the word vectors. So we are installing all this. Pip install emod. This is to convert emojis to text. I'll run this. It does not take much time. Definitely, it does not take days together to download. See, from GenSim import keyed vectors. After installing GenSim, if I say import keyed vectors, so this is all the time that it takes. Yes, this is done. Then what you have to do is you have to get that get the vectors, that is word vectors available at Google, and this is the link that we have. And this word vector, I mentioned that Word2Vec is constructed using a very large database, and this is one database. This is the using Google News. This Word2Vec is constructed. This also you can download, and this also will not take much time. So once we have this, you can use this as a lookup tool, a lookup table. A lookup table in the sense we have a dictionary. It's like, in fact, it is a dictionary, a Python dictionary. We'll have a word and its embedding. So that is what is required. Yes, it is done. So it does not take much time here, right? Then this is, we will copy the word vectors into a variable called Word2Vec. Embedding file is given by root input Google News vector, this one, and whatever is the keyed vectors, right? The contents of this embedding file we are copying into Word2Vec. For most of the applications, what we can do is you can use this as a lookup table. We need the word embeddings of that particular word. Word embedding in the sense, what is the vector? And for that, you can even choose the size of the vector. What is the size? Whether you need the size of the vector as 100 or 350. So some standard sizes are available. So you can use those sizes. And now the dimension, as I showed here, the dimension is something like 15,000 of this one. So definitely it will not be 15,000. Not this here. Yes, I mean that is taking some time, so I thought I'll show you this. So accuracy of the ensemble model. The accuracy of the ensemble model is this, right? Precision, recall, F1 score, support, and you can also see the confusion matrix. I hope you are all familiar with the confusion matrix. You can also see the confusion matrix. See, it's as I mentioned, it's left to your patience. So whatever you want, there is a function for that. Only thing is you should know which function to use. That's all. It's still taking. Okay, it's done. So I have the data set. the data set available at this location that I am downloading. And this is what is the data set. And these are the this is how the data set looks like. There are several reviews and there are sentiments, and only two sentiments are there. So 0 and 1, maybe positive sentiments and negative sentiments. You can see the sentiment here. So crust is not good. This is one of the sentiment. So download the stopwords. In NLTK has got so many stopwords for so many languages. You can download it. Okay, so what we have now, see here you can see this word2vec, right? This word2vec, we have the word vectors in this word2vec. So what we want is, for this data, whatever we have, these are the sentiments. For example, if you consider this one, oh, loud this place. Anyway, this will be removed because this is a stop word. So we are left with oh, loud, place for these three. So for O, you find out the embedding. For loud, find out the embedding. Place, find out the embedding. In fact, loud will be reduced to loud if you apply stemmer or lemmatizer. So we have O, loud, place. The advantage here is that if you are selecting the embedding size as 50 or 100, irrespective of the number of words in your text, so the same size will be used. So that word2vec you can make out is used here. So can you make out it is used here, word2vec of word. So what we are trying to do, so document vectors gets pd.dataframe. You are considering them as a data frame. And here you can see you are using the stopwords. You're using the stopwords. So for docs in help of reviews, I'm trying to make the code as compact as possible. But when I try to make the code compact, I have to fuse many things into the code, and that is the beauty of Python. So you can write a code in a very compact way, or it's called as Pythonic way of writing. So what do we do now for doc in help of reviews? Let us not worry about the rest. So I'm considering the this data. Help is here. Here you can see this one, or here this one. The data is in this help now. YELP. The data is here, right? This consists of all the information. So that I'm considering here for doc in help of reviews. Reviews is the the column reviews. The actual text is in this reviews. So for doc in for word in doc split, this is a doc. The split is a function which splits using this as the delimiter. And if word not in stopwords, word_vec, this is one variable. Get this one. Word2vec of word. Word2vec of word is here, right? This one. And you can see the size that is selected is 300, right? And finally, we are writing doc vectors.shape. I'll just run this. Oh, getting an error. I didn't run this. So you have to get the shape of this vectors. Yeah, can you make out? It is 1000 and 300. So 1000 documents are there, and 300 is the size of the vector. So what we have done up to this is the getting the word embeddings. So next what happens is the using the machine learning algorithms. So use any of the machine learning algorithm. Here we are using the machine learning algorithm called Adabos classifier. This is for ensembling. This may take some time. This is just to get the split the data into training set and test set. And yes, we can have this. So what I did in this is I have downloaded a Word2Vec model. Word2Vec model consists of Word2Vec model now can be considered as a dictionary when it comes to our local disk. So it is like for a word, what is the embedding? So we will have that. And if you want to get the word embeddings for a text, for each and every word you get the word embedding. After that you average it, and Doc2Vec will take care of that automatically. So this is the accuracy of the ensemble model, and accuracy of the ensemble model you're getting it as 79. We have precision, recall, F1 score support, and even the confusion matrix is there. So the actual part, this is the machine learning part, this one, and this has got nothing to do with the text classification. Am I audible?
Axis is equal to 1. Why we need to add that as a parameter? Axis is
where is that axis equal to 1? Random state equal to 1. Wait. Okay, I'll note this and I'll answer to the end. Axis equal to 1, right? Okay, I'll come to this. So what is the role played by Word2Vec is this one here. Right? If word is present in embeddings, then proceed. If word is not present in embeddings, then you append it to the then that word is not considered. See, if word is not in stop words and if this word is present, fine. If word is not there, then there is no chance of getting that embedding. That's why we have this try and accept. But there is every chance that this word is present in the embeddings. This is because they consider very large text, and when they consider very large text, there is no chance that a word get missed. But in spite of that, yes, some of the words, especially when you are considering like a code mixed text, many words may not be there in the text, because this is the especially the one that the word embedding or Word2Vec that we are considering here is here is from the Google News. And when it comes to news or any digital library contents or something like that, then they will be written in the correct English, not like the broken English that we write in social media or this WhatsApp, Facebook, whatever, any of the social media text. Okay, so here the first one is just to use the TF counterfactorizer and TF-IDF, and this is just to use the Word2Vec. I'm just making use of the Word2Vec, that's all. Can we construct our own word embeddings? How to construct our own word embeddings? Say, let us say I'm not happy with the word embeddings that is available in this Google, because I have my own kind of text. Especially, let us say I have the Kannada text. For Kannada text, I do not have this word embeddings. Or I have the code mixed text. For code mixed text, I do not have word embeddings. So I would like to construct my own word embeddings. So let us take a note of this also. So I want to create my own word embeddings. So I mentioned about sentence embedding, word embedding, and even subword embeddings. So here we are considering all these three. So I have already mounted. I mentioned about subword embeddings. For subword embeddings, I am using this byte pair embedding. BPEMB is byte pair embedding. This I have to install. I already have installed this. You can see it's saying already installed. Yeah, this is the text that I have here is like this. These are the comments. I have two types of text here. Yeah, this is the comments. Can you make out the comments? So this is the text that I have. I'm showing a small text here. You can see this is the code mixed text. For example, if I read the first sentence, it says BMTC ne support needilla, ಇನ್ನೊಂದು 3 year BMTCಲು ಬೇರೆ ರಾಜ್ಯದವರಿಗೆ ಜಾಬ್ ಶ್ಯೂರ್ ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ ನೋಡ್ತಾ ಇರಿ. So this is a code mix text. And this is one text that we have. The other text is that we need is the label text. Yeah, this one. So what is done in the first one is, this is a text. Using this text, we are constructing the word embeddings. And using this we are using for training and testing. We are splitting this into training and testing. And if you can see here, the first ones, there are two columns. One is the word, the other one is a label. For example, BMTC. BMTC is a name. NE, it says BMTC ne. So NE is Kannada. Support is English. Needilla. Needilla is in Kannada. So we have tagged the words as name, Kannada, English, and I think we also have the mixed words. Mixed words is like one portion of word is Kannada, the other portion of the word is English. For example, plan madilla. If you say plan madilla, plan is an English word and madilla is a Kannada word, but plan madilla is one word, so that we consider it as a mixed word. So this is the type of text that we have. So I have installed this, right? Then I'll whatever libraries that I need, so that I have imported. Yeah, this is the comments.csv file which I showed you. Now I would like to, I do not want to use the word embeddings because this is a code mix text, and word embeddings, the existing word embeddings does not help for this kind of code mix text. So what I do is I'll create my own word embeddings. To create my own word embeddings, what I need is this word2vec function. Using this word2vec function, I can create my own word embeddings. In order to do that, we have to process the data so that word2vec accepts it in the format that is required. So for that, what we do is this, right? So this is to open the file. This is a CSV file. So I'll open this file, comments.csv, right? Then I'll remove all the digits if there are any. And word2vec accepts the raw text. So what do you mean raw text? Raw text is it's a continuous sequence of strings. So there are no, it's not like words or subwords, strings, nothing is there. It is one string that we have to consider. So for that we have to tokenize, and then we have to de-tokenize it. So de-tokenize, when you tokenize it, remove the stop words, do stemming, whatever you want, but it should not be in the same form. Then again de-tokenize it. If you de-tokenize it, it becomes one string. So then we have this. Use this word2vec function. Where is this word2vec? Word2vec is, I have imported here. From gensim.models, import word2vec. So word2vec is here. So I'm using the word2vec function. Using this word2vec function, I am creating a word embedding for my text. I'll run this. Yeah. Can you make out this? Print word model. Yeah, this is the word model. Yeah. See, this was the first text. You can see it here. See, BMTC support needilla. This is sentence, first sentence, right? For this, we have the embedding. BMTC support needilla. So for this, we have the embedding, right? This is the embedding, and I have taken 300. So from here you can see from here to here, this is for the first one, that is BMT Cine. Next again we have for NE, next for support, and next for Needilla. So what we do if you want to average this is, you take this 300 plus 300, 300 plus 300, that is vectors for 4 words. Then you average it. I mean, that is how it is done even in Doc2Vec. Right? So what I have done now is, I have the word embeddings for each and every word. You have heard about character n-grams. So character n-grams, I'll remove this, it takes space. So character n-grams, they help a lot in natural language processing. So because character n-grams can be used, what we have done is, we have also gone for character embedding. See, if you want word embedding, if you want to construct word embedding, you need the context of words, and context of words will be present in a sentence. Similarly, if you want character embeddings, context of the characters is present in a word. So for each and every, you are considering each and every word, and we are trying to, the same method is used, only the only input that we are giving here is, instead of sentence, we are giving the words as input, and we have this one. Yes.
Ma'am, data set which contains Kannada word but written in English, right?
Yes, transliterated.
Should we build the Kannada word embedding with the English words, or we can train the model with actual Kannada words? Because I have trained the Word2Vec using actual Kannada words, not like
No, I mean, the data set that I have here consists of only transliterated one. I'm not using the Kannada text here. I mean,
use Kannada text in the similar way. Can results?
Yeah, definitely, you can get it. You can get it. In this data set, what I have is the transliterated one. I do not have Kannada text. I mean, in the native script, I do not have.
But if it use Kannada words, then no problem. We get the same
Definitely,
results.
definitely. Now we are having lot of annotated text. So using, this is the data that we have. This one. This is the comments that we have, and here purposefully we have not included the Kannada text.
Okay, okay.
So now, see, now can you make out this one? See, earlier we had for, and here we have considered 10, because we have 26 characters, and some characters like X, Y, Z, Q, they are used they are used less frequently. So what we have considered as the size as 10. You can make out the size. Here we are considering the size equal to 10. Can you make out here? Word2Vec size equal to 10. You can increase the size also. But because there are 26 characters and not all are prominent characters, we have considered this 10. Here you can see that size is considered as 100. Instead of 100, here also you can reduce the size to 50. And this you can do it for the Word2Vec model that we are going to build. But if you're using the standard Word2Vec model, they are having the standard sizes like 100 is there, 300 is there, 500 is there, like that. But when you are building your own models, now you can even get 10 also, you can give 20 also, you can give 15 also, you can give anything, you can give. So what we now have is here the character embedding. Okay, then as I mentioned earlier, subword embeddings, especially when we go for code mixed text, because sometimes we write sorry, yes, wo, rrr, y, something like that. So to tackle that, we need this subword embedding, and for this subword embedding, we use this byte embedding pair. Byte embedding pair embedding, what it does is, it generates all possible subwords for a given word, and that is why only for that purpose we are using this byte pair embedding. So using byte pair embedding, again what we'll do is, we'll generate all possible subwords or all possible subwords, and then use those subwords for building the model. Yes, can you make out the subwords? See here, for example, here we have Channagi. right? We have Chennagi. So CHENAAG. These are the subwords. I mean, you can ask the question, why other not the subwords? Now, when we are giving all the subwords, right? All the subwords. So some of the subwords, for example, here we may also consider individual characters like C, H, E, N, A, G, I. They also as a subwords. But here we are restricted to words of length characters of length greater than 1 or subwords of length greater than 1, mainly because character embedding, it will capture anyway it will capture the character. So because it is already present, we are not considering this. Right. So what we have done now is, see, for each and every word we have the subwords, and we are constructing embedding similar to using this one. Here you can see, and again we have considered size as 10. So here this is the subword embeddings. Okay. So now what all we have is, we have word embeddings, we have character embeddings, and we have subword embeddings. Now we have to put everything together. Okay, one point that we have to consider when we are putting everything together is, okay, putting together word, character, and subword embeddings. Okay, when we say TF-IDF is of fixed length, something like 1000, 2000. It depends on how many words are there in the vocabulary. But word2vec is not like that. In word2vec, you can fix the size of the not size of the vocabulary, but the size of the word vector. Size of the word vector can be 100, it can be 50, it can be 300. Standard sizes are there. But when you're doing your own, here also you can fix. But the thing is, for example, if I consider BMTC, so the word vector for BMTC is having one word vector. BMTC consists of 4 characters, BMTC, so 4 characters, and the size of the word vector size of BMTC is 100. Size of individual characters is 10. So BMTC, 10 into 4, it comes to 40. So for BMTC, we have 100. For BMNTC, we have 40. And we have the subwords also. Subwords, let us assume that we have, for BM, we have one, BM is considered as one subword. TC is considered as one subword. So we have two subwords. And for each subword, if you consider 10 as the size, we will have 20. So altogether, it comes to 160. This is for one word. Similarly, if you let us say consider the word support. If you consider the word support, so this is 100. And now in support, there will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 characters. In BMTC, there are 4 characters, but in support, there are 6 characters. And when you say SUPPORT, you have to consider P twice. So 6 into 10, it comes to 160. Plus, let us assume that there are 3 subwords and 10. So we'll have 190. In the first case, the word vector size comes to 160. In the second case, the word vector size comes to 190. So what is the difference? How do we take care of that difference? That difference can be taken care by padding the differing length with zeros. So what we can do here is, out of all the find out, you pad all this word embeddings, character embeddings, and subword embeddings. You concatenate all this and find out the maximum size. And the difference between this maximum size and the resulting word length of for each word, now that we have to fill it with zeros, and that we have done it here. So we have 0. This is 0. Vector size equal to 10. We have considered 0, 0.0 into vector size. Here you can see that we have padded with zeros. Here you can see. Vectors of I dot extend 0 vector pad. So here, see, this is like 3 arrays we have. We are just concatenating the arrays. That's all we are doing when we say putting together. I mean, sometimes what happens is, even in Python, and even if you look into the literature, there will be the terminology. Just looking into the terminology, we may feel that something, something complex or something very difficult is difficult things have to be done. But if you look into the actual thing that has to be done, it is not so. So what do you mean by putting together word, character, and subword embeddings? There are 3 arrays. You just concatenate them. That's all. Concatenate them, and even to concatenate, there are various options in Python. But only thing that you have to take care if you are constructing your own embeddings is to padding the differing length with zeros. Yes. So after this, my word embeddings, which takes care of word embedding, character embedding, and subword embeddings is ready. So maximum length is 370, and the word vector size is 121922. So this completes the text representation part, and the next part, as usual, is the machine learning part. So for machine learning part, you can use any of the machine learning algorithms. I'll just run the machine learning algorithm here. Any machine learning algorithm. I'll split this into train and text. The label data which I showed, that is I'm using. So I'm using logistic regression for classification, and then use this. So accuracy is 0.57. As I mentioned, I'm not really worried about the accuracy here because this was a project done by my MSc student. Later on, we extended it. We collected something like I think some 250 or 300 YouTube links, and from those YouTube links, we collected I think up to 1 lakh YouTube comments consisting of only code mixer data. And, we have done the experiments, but we have not yet communicated. And here also we can think of ensemble and other also are there. Some other classifiers are also used here. So the actual word embedding part does not lie in this doing this classification. The actual word embedding part is only here, only up to this one. It's in fact not even this, that is putting together. The actual word embedding is here, where we create word embeddings, character embeddings, and subword embeddings. So it is very simple. Given a text classification or any classification for that matter, so image classification, people also use SVM. Text classification, they also use SVM. If someone is working on video, they are also doing working on SVM. So classifiers, are we constructing an altogether new classifier? So if you are constructing an altogether new classifier, now that should be competitive with the so-called popular or very good classifiers, which we may find it difficult. So where exactly you can work? You can work only in the representation part or in the feature extraction part. So whatever possible features you can extract, that you can extract in the feature extraction, or think of some different representation. Right. Okay. If there are any questions, what's the time now? Time is 12:50.
Ma'am, hello ma'am.
Yes.
Could you please add here one more code, similarity distance between the two words here by calling the model? Model
Here I have not added.
W
Yeah.
dot similarity.
WV. Just a minute.
After building the model, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. Let me check.
Okay. Similarity of any two nearest words.
Words.
Yes.
Wait. This is for word embedding. Okay. Tell me what to add.
You were ma'am. I think here word model. Word model.
Yeah. Okay.
Dot WV.
Wait. Word model dot
WV.
Okay.
With the open parenthesis.
You want to find out two words.
Yes. Yes. Similarity. And with it, use any two words which you have in your data set, ma'am.
In my data set, I'll check.
A function, no? So
Wait. WB dot
similarity.
similarity.
Now round parenthesis, any two words here.
I don't know whether these words are there in my
If this
vocabulary.
yes, say the words which are there in this data set, those words only should be given here, no, ma'am.
Yeah. Wait. Yeah, it says minus 0.06. I think it should be there.
It's not similar. I think Nivu is not there. Now is there. Nivu.
No, it is there. The word
New
is
is
there.
there.
New is there. Yes.
But
It's
still,
there.
now Nivu is almost
Yeah.
as words. But still, it is giving very less.
No. Now, see, when it comes to English, fine, but this is code mix text. So whatever is the meaning of Navu Nivu in Kannada does not hold good here. For this, it does not hold good
That's
because
what this is what my.
Okay, I got your point. Okay, let me check.
Okay. Yeah,
Okay,
like
let
in
me check.
English, ma'am. In English, if we give similar words, then it gives almost close to 1, like
Okay.
0.9, 0.7, which it's really good. It's really
Yeah,
correct.
I
But if we apply the same word happening, yes, ma'am, we are not
I
getting
got your point.
English words.
Yeah, let me check.
Okay.
But we are definitely,
Thank you.
we are using, and one more thing that I would like to mention here is, see, our data set is very limited here. Just for the purpose of demonstration, I have considered a very small data set. But with this data set, you can't expect too much performance or
But
good results.
1 lakh words are there, ma'am. There also I'm getting just 0.3, 0.4.
You just look into the size of the data that they consider for constructing this word embeddings. It's not 1 lakh.
Okay.
There will be several millions. And definitely
Could
I
you
can
please send the link and fast test? I messaged you in your email.
Okay, I'll check.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Welcome. Any other questions?
Participants, any questions? Okay, madam. Madam, shall we conclude the session?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Thank you, madam. Really, it was a wonderful talk on what in the morning session, wonderful talk on text embedding, and now actually this practical session really useful to the participants so that they can work on natural language processing applications so as to build those kind of applications. And you explained the use of NLTK toolkit to build NLP applications by making use of the functionalities that are available in NLTK toolkit. And we have explained some of the available functionalities like building a stemmer, lematizer, POS tagger, tokenizer, etc. And by making use of how can we build a model for natural language processing by making use of text as the input, and even word-to-word construction of word embedding, character embedding, etc. And as we know that lots of NLP applications are available for English languages. Unfortunately, for Indian languages, it's very less amount of work is going on. And however, it is a great essential to build such NLP applications for Indian languages. So really, you motivated us to build such kind of NLP applications for Indian languages. As we know that India is a multilingual country, but resource poor because electronic data set for Indian languages, regional languages, obviously is not at all available publicly. So that anyway we have to do some exercise on those things. Really, madam, you motivated us to do some NLP applications for regional languages like mother tongue also. So thank you very much, madam. And please share your slides, madam, so that participants are asking so that.
Yes. So thank you very much. Thank you very much, Dr. Pratibha, for giving me an opportunity to share my experience. If anybody wants to work on natural language processing, any of this word embedding or anything related, it may be for your MCA or MSc projects, or you just want to work. No, you can drop me a message. Whatever help that we can do, I can extend it. So some of our students, they are working on this word embeddings and related things. What I would like to say is, to start with, don't try to create a data set. Lot of data sets are available, and especially when it comes to Kannada, you go for AI for Bharat. Still, this one is visible, right? Okay. It's AI for Bharat. We have lot of resources. Yeah, this one. I'll show you the link. Lot of resources are there, especially for Indian languages. AI for Bharat will give this. This one. No, not this. And you also can try. Yeah, it is here. So this is the one, a catalog of resources for Indian language NLP. You can see the resources that are available. So many resources are available. I mean, it's good thing that everything is available at one place. And recently I got another data set called, the name is Dakshina. Dakshina data set supports 12 languages. At least it includes the Dravidian languages. And they have a lot of annotated data in native script as well as transliterated text, transliterated in or in the Roman text. That is there. Then I mentioned about the shared task. To start with, any of these you can have. You can compete in this shared task. See, because our tendency is like, okay, if not today, let us do it tomorrow. So like that, we have the postponing attitude always. But if you want to compete in this shared task, they'll give the data and they'll give the task also what you have to do. How you have to do, that is left to you. You can build the models. See, even if you do not get the good ranks, it doesn't matter. You'll have the data, and you'll get to know how you can build applications, and that definitely helps to build the confidence in you. So you can check this AI for Bharat. This is Indic NLP catalog. Indic NLP catalog is lot of resources. I don't think we'll be using all these resources. And when it comes to embedding, lot of embeddings, word embeddings are being available even for Indian languages. Not only that, India is a multilingual country, we all know very well. Even we are having multilingual word embeddings, especially that suits the Indian context. Maybe we can explore all those things. So thank you very much for providing an opportunity. Even if one person finds it useful, the purpose of the organizer as well as me taking some time is served. So thank you very much.
Not only 1%, madam, more than 1%, definitely more than 50% of the participants
thank
are
you.
from NLP background, so that definitely they'll make use of this,
Okay,
including
thank you very
me.
much. Thank you.
Including me.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Thank you. If anybody is interested, join with us.
Yes, ma'am, I have one question, ma'am.
Yes, yes.
Ma'am,
Yep.
if we want to add our own data set to Kannada resources, where we can add it? Because I have created my own Kannada data set which is not found earlier. Where to add it? Contribute.
So for which one you have added? For which one you have created? For which task you have created your data set?
For my experiment, I have created my own data set for syntax and semantic parsing. Apart from the text I had downloaded from.
So you check this in this one. You check this AI for Bharat, this one, GitHub at this one. Yeah, one more thing that you can do is you can have your GitHub page. I mean, whoever works, they can have their GitHub page, and whatever code that you write, I mean, if it is not confidential, or if you want to make it available for public, then you can have your GitHub page, you can have your data sets, It's like another repository. You need not have to carry in your pen drive or even in your hard disk. Everything you can put in your GitHub page, and you can have your own GitHub page. If you want, you can
Okay,
share.
okay.
Other people can look into it, have a look into it.
Yeah,
Otherwise, I
yeah.
think it can be made private also. But
Okay.
when it comes to resources, what I personally feel is, let us make the resources available.
Yes,
I mean,
that's what.
whatever resources that we are using now, see, they are not the resources created by us. Somebody else has done it.
Hmm.
So it is our responsibility also to create some resources and make it available. At least
Okay.
if all cannot create the resource, whoever has created the resource, if they make it available to the public, so they'll make use of that resources.
Okay, ma'am. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, thank you once again, madam.
Thank you.
Okay, dear participants, we will meet at 3 o'clock.
Ma'am, please share Python file also.
Yeah.
Python files, please
Python.
share.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
Thank you.